Richmond.
Mr. Speaker, in 2007, the province launched a pandemic plan aimed at reducing the amount of sickness and death during a potential flu pandemic. That plan acknowledged a pandemic event would stress the health system, the economy, and society in general, and we were urged to prepare at that time. In fact, the Auditor General in 2009 made 33 recommendations to the government, and that's when we were under our regional health authorities. My question to the minister is, has our government implemented those 33 recommendations from 2009? And how is that manifesting now that we have one central health authority as opposed to regional health authorities?
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the member for the question. As I've previously noted, the pandemic planning that really were not well established, particularly back for the H1N1 and the SARS outbreaks over about a decade ago, has certainly informed the pandemic planning process that were established then, and with lessons learned that informed the preparation for what would be an inevitable instance, which we're going through right now. That work, I believe, both provincially within our public health officials, with our partners throughout the health authorities, and with other agencies across the province, but also, Mr. Speaker, across the country, coming together, having regular engagements to make sure that we're following the best protocols based upon the information we have.
The Honourable Member for Cape Breton Richmond.
If I read between the lines there, Mr. Speaker, I think I've heard that we're not really actually prepared. So I feel like there's a train wreck potentially coming our way, and we're on the track and we're looking at it, and we're not doing anything about it. We hear that there's no COVID-19 cases here in the province now. That does not mean that there will not be cases forthcoming. I have one of the highest percentages of seniors in my constituency, Mr. Speaker. It's my responsibility to stand in this House and represent their concerns. I would ask the minister again, do we actually have a pandemic plan in place in this province, or is it that we're looking at the Canadian Armed Forces to come in and parachute in with like a MASH unit if something does occur? That's my question to the minister, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the member. I'd encourage her perhaps not to read between the lines. Mr. Speaker, I've stood in my place since the start of this session. We've had public updates led by the Chief Medical Officer of Health, the Chief Public Health Officer, Mr. Speaker, to keep Nova Scotians informed. That information is very clear that we do have pandemic plans that are guiding the steps that we are implementing. As noted, we've been very public about this, Mr. Speaker. As the member noted, we do not have any, but we've also been very public saying that based upon global and national trends, we anticipate there will be cases here in Nova Scotia, and that's why we continue to step up with the planning and actions that we take within the province, and that is guided by that plan that was already in place. That is guiding, again, the steps that we take. So again, I assure the member opposite, we do have a plan in place. We are executing according to that plan, guided by our public health officials, and again, I would encourage her not to read between the lines to suggest, especially in terms of creating fear, for those very constituents she's